tell you what. This is how I know that kids, maybe just my kids, but kids don't pay attention to anything. When I say kids, I think it's the younger generation. It's all together. Because whatever my kids are focused on at that moment, they're talking about something or doing something, that's all that's happening in the world. It's just, everything else does not matter. Now, I'm going to give you an example. The other day, I'm sitting here watching TV. And my son's here at his computer. And he decided he wanted to talk about his show with me. He wanted to tell me about whatever he was watching. He wanted to tell me about it. It's the thing he likes to do. So he starts talking. And the show I'm watching, the first couple of scenes, it's on HBO. So, it's for most time adults. Some images of like a vintage Playgirl magazine came up on screen. And he's sitting there looking at his computer. And I don't notice it at first, but I think I'm down looking at my phone, and I'm just listening to him talk to me. And he gets up to walk over to me to continue talking. So that's when I look up, look at him, and listen to him talk. But at the corner of my eye, I see what's on screen, and it's I don't know who knows what Playgirl is. Same thing as Playboy, except it's men. So naked man with a swinging dick right there. And a little cowboy hat and all. Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I was like, oh shit. And so I'm keeping eye contact with him, hoping he doesn't veer off to the in hindsight, I could have grabbed the remote and paused or did something, but if I paused it, it would this had a still image, just stopped it on there, and it'd still be on the screen. And I was hoping it wouldn't take a long time; it would just pass and move on. But apparently, it was up for 30 seconds. It's shot after shot after shot on screen. Anyway, whatever. The mistakes were made. Things could have been done, but. He's talking, and I see his eyes go over while he's talking. He's like, blah, 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 whatever. Looks at the screen. No reaction. Keeps talking. No. And I respond. Otherwise, he's going to stare at me and want me to say something to him because, I didn't respond. Or he'll just repeat it back to me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. All right, okay. And I see him look at the screen again, and he says a little thing. And then I see him look at the screen again as he's turning away to go back to his computer. Never said a word. Didn't say one word about the swinging dick on screen. And now, of course, we, I like to instill in the children that, the body's a normal thing. Everyone, it's normal to be, but still, it's kind of jarring to see something like that on screen. But he paid no mind. And that's when I know, these kids, when they get something in their mind, when they are focused on something, whatever it is they are focused on, that's what they focus on. That is what they are focused on. He paid no mind to what was on screen. I don't know if he even saw it. Even though I know he looked at the screen, I don't know if he even saw what was on the screen. He saw a person, and he paid no mind to whatever else was going on because he was talking about his show and then the activity on the show, and that was his interest at that moment. I'm going to tell you what, if that was me and I was talking to you and then I saw some shit on like that, I would stop. And I'll be like, we're going to have a word. What are you watching, Dad? What is going on right here? But yeah, this is, it's going to show you, these kids these days, they built different. They different peoples because they're so tunnel visioned. They're so tunnel visioned, especially when it comes to what they're interested in, the time period. The older kids, teenagers, and 20-year-olds, they think that the shit they doing is the first time it's ever been done. We all know that's wrong. There's been many people before them done this same shit. They're saying, they acting like it's brand new. But these get so tunnel vision, and I was shocked. I really thought I was going to sit there and explain, like, hey, I don't know what I was going to say. I have no idea what I was going to say. But I mean, what can you say to him? Like, hey, it's a show. That was the artistic vision they went with for the opening scene of the show, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, this is the JC Weekly Podcast, episode 15. I am a little late this time. I wasn't feeling it this weekend. Wasn't feeling it, I just couldn't get focusing on what to talk about. And so I'm like a day or so late here, but we're here either way. As usual, I'm gonna go and throw the socials out. I'm JC Weekly everywhere. I mean, but things like TikTok is JC Weekly Talks, Instagram JC_Weekly, YouTube JC Weekly. All your podcast listening platforms, JC Weekly, JC Weekly Podcast, so on and so forth. Also, I've got a Substack. No one's gonna look at it. No one likes to read these days. So, but I do a little bit of writing, But JC Weekly on there, if you'd like to indulge. Can I talk about women for a minute? And I guess it's not technically about women. It's kind of about women. It has to do with women, but not that like about women. But the term women's intuition doesn't quite sit right with me. And it's a term thrown around all the time in society. It has been for a long time. And I never thought much of it. And usually as a man, you don't think about much of it, whatever, until you're in a relationship and it gets thrown around a lot. About, your female heaven, my women's intuition is telling me, type shit, right? Here's my first problem. All right. There's no such thing as women's intuition. There's just intuition. Like there isn't like intuition, and then the greater version of intuition is women's intuition. That's not a thing. There's just intuition. Okay. But women as a whole have decided to somehow built it up into be like, oh, everyone has intuition, but ain't everybody got women's intuition. They want you to think that they're more perceptive than everybody else in the world, and they can just see it all. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Because one, it's like I said, it's only one thing. There's intuition, and two, like if they saying like, oh, I know he likes her. Like you said, there's two people. Like I know they like each other. Blah blah blah. My women's intuition is telling me no. Your women's intuition isn't telling you anything. The same context clues that we all using to see that they like each other is the same ones you're getting. You don't have any elevated sense of anything right now. We can all see they like each other, but just because you are a female, you act like your intuition, like you seeing it is something different than me seeing it. Like if I see it, it must be dead obvious. Like there's no way I could tell. But the body language and the context clues going on, letting me know, the flirtations, the Captain Obvious shit. But once you see it though, oh, you was early. You knew it. That's women's intuition. That's such a funny thing to me. It's such a funny thing to like to pick intuition as a thing that you wanna build up and like make it everyone else's intuition a lesser intuition. Like y'all don't see things like I see things, like that. And the thing of it is, when women try to throw around they women's intuition, And they don't like just let it be intuition, but they precisely announce it as women's intuition. A lot of times they're wrong. A lot of times they are wrong. I feel like when it's just intuition and they just saying something blankly because they seeing it what everyone else sees. That's just intuition to them. But then when they think they know something, okay, and they got to be right because they don't be wrong. They got to be right. That's when it gets elevated and announced to publicly to everyone around. Oh, I know. Because women's intuition. Yeah, because don't ask them how you know. They're like, bitch, women's intuition. It's the silliest thing. It's the silliest thing, and like and I've seen a comedian say it before, and it makes the best sense in the world. Like if like because women hold their intuition so high, then they never should get like they should know a man ain't shit before they stay with him, right? If the women's intuition is so high and so elevated, so precise, so perceptive, then you should know your man ain't shit. But alas, all these women of the world be with men ain't shit and be getting cheated on or whatever, and still be like they had women's intuition. I think elevating the women's intuition to women's intuition thing is more about wanting to be right all the time, is what it is. Wanting to be right as a woman. And I'm not saying they're not always, it's not right sometimes. Sometimes you seeing what you seeing. I agree, you seeing what you seeing. But it ain't because you're a woman. It's because it's intuitive. You see it. We all did shit. You ain't the only one that saw that. You know, I just don't buy into it. I don't buy into the women's intuition thing. It just seems silly and just wanting to be right all the time and just wanting to one up. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I've never heard a man say, that men's intuition. That's how I knew about that. I knew she wanted me to kiss her because you know how men's intuition. No, we don't say shit like that. We don't. We barely care enough to even use our intuition. Maybe that's why women's intuition seems more elevated because men's intuition, like we barely care enough to even use it. And when we do, we don't announce it to nobody. We just take note. Just take note. I'm sit up here with my knowledge I just gained. I'm not saying a word. I don't need to announce it to nobody. Women's got to be known though. They got you, but you're gonna know about this women's intuition. I feel like I've said women's intuition a lot, but anyway, I'm glad I got that. I never cared about that particular subject until you're in a relationship for like a while, and like it gets thrown in your face and shit like that. Like the women's intuition, and like they be dead wrong. Like I ain't saying that it wasn't right sometimes. I'm just saying they could be dead wrong, but you can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them nothing because of women's intuition. And that's the argument, because it's women's intuition. How is that an argument? How is that an argument to what you're saying to me? I'm saying, oh, no, you're wrong. That's not true at all. That's just something you think, and you are thinking incorrectly. And here's my proof showing so. I'm like, no, I know I'm right because this is women's. Anyway. Let's move on from that before I sound like I'm bashing women, because I'm obviously not. I think I'm just bashing the concept of gauging intuitions. What I wanted to do, so obviously I write, and I had started a little piece here a while ago, and then I got sidetracked and wrote something else. Push it to the side. I was gonna come back to it. Came back to it after finishing another thing. Sat down with it, and I really loved the first handful of lines I had when I wrote it. And when I sat down and reread it, I still liked it, but I had nowhere to. I didn't know how to go forward, then looking at it, it also had me question. So to give you a little, what the fuck I'm talking about, I'm just rambling right now. It is about myself, going through life, with a very hard shell. Raised that way by a man, a hard man. So, emotions and whatnot, really not my bag, but I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to soften up a little bit, And it's one of those things. I think this is I think it's the case of a lot of men. We go through, we feel like we have to have that hard shell and can't be soft for anything because the world's on a soft place. But I'm going to read you the first couple lines. And then I'm going to give my thoughts after looking at it and like, oh, wait. So this is what I had. So this is what I have. And I don't think I'm going to finish this. I think I'm just going to talk it out here. And then this one to be. So it goes, I've lived my life sacrificing softness, raised by a hard man, preparing for a hard world that turned out only to be hard sometimes because I was, pushing my emotions and tenderness to the back burner until they boiled over at the most inopportune times, only to present as anger, because resembling anything close to weakness could have stirred the pot in my own psyche. This is who I've become to be known. I think that like that handful of lines like sums up like me, like from growing up until like, recently, through the years. That's who I am, and I put up a hard exterior. Like I'm a funny guy, mind you. I'm a funny guy. It says I put up a hard exterior. Emotions has really never been my thing, and and as I've gotten older, I'm trying to be softer and kind of, instead of avoiding emotions or feelings and whatnot, embracing them. Here's my problem that I've ran into. I feel like I still like the idea of it, like becoming softer. But and I know this is just my harder side, like a defense mechanism, like jumping in to like, hey, hold up, but like don't go down this road. I know it is. Because I almost feel like I'm afraid to get too soft. Like I still want that edge. I don't know if it's to protect myself, but I feel like, I still gotta keep something. And also, I feel like, when I just feel like in the moments when I've let myself get like a lot of the tenderness like come out and just embrace it. I like the feeling of it, but I don't, because I guess because it's foreign. I like that I'm actually feeling that way, but also that it's foreign, and I feel like I'm opening myself up. I guess when it's scary to do so. And things that I don't know if it's I'm all for change. I just don't know. I've gotten this far this way, and it's never served me. It's never always served me well, but it's served me enough, I guess. But it's in the sake of trying to be better. but also not sacrificing what has got me this far. And also, like I said, it's how I've come to be known by everyone, and myself is how it's a weird thing to like all of a sudden be like, okay, let's just open the floodgates and just see how this goes. And then at like a moment's notice, you have to be able to flip the switch and be that hard person again. And I'll be honest with you. One of the the big things is, and I know it's so silly. One of the big things is I think about this every once in a while. Like, am I getting too soft? And I mean too soft. I mean is you always think about the saying that women like bad boys. Now I'm not calling myself a bad boy at all. So I'm not. But women like bad boys. Basically, someone with an edge. And I'm always like, oh, if I like start getting really tender and really talking about my feelings and like being forward with that, basically, am I gonna come across as a pussy? That's basically what it is. Like I ain't never seen like my dad. I've seen a lot of anger from my dad. I've never seen my dad like cry at one time. Okay, saw a lot of anger. When he was a younger man. I inherited that same anger. Trying, obviously this is a working thing, trying to, be better. But also you like you want to be rid of it, but you like that part of you too. And this is how people know you and they like that part of you to a degree. And you're like, what if it slips away? What if who I am, who I've been my whole adult life slips away and I become something then I'm not happy with. It's like a balancing act. It's like I want to be soft, but I also want to be hard at the same time. And so you have to be able to. I think it comes down to picking moments. When it's that time, when it's the correct time, when it's the correct people or person or whatever to be that way with. The problem is with like doing this now at 44, people know you a certain way. You start acting another way, and they can't see the change or accept the change. They just know who you are and what you've been, and all they're gonna do is throw that in your face, even though you're doing something different than what you've done. But but the women's intuition tells them no. Tells them something different. I mean, I wonder how true the whole women like bad boys thing is. Or is that like, or is that statement itself like just a mirror image to want a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets? It's just, oh, I want you to look hard to everyone else, but I want you tender. And honestly, that's probably the way it should be, right? That's probably the way it should be. It's kind of the same thing. Because I feel like being tender 100% of the time is a little tough, and you're going to get. I don't think I will ever get there, but I feel like getting comfortable in my own softness recently has been felt not like myself. But change ain't easy. And I wonder how many like men actually go through this, because I know a lot of people. I know, especially people in my generation, we were raised in a certain way that kids aren't raised today. Like kids are coming out soft these days, and they stay that way. They're just soft people. They're just it's a different world, but the world I grew up in, which is the same world we're fucking in, but for some reason, a lot of these younger kids are soft and coming out with soft men, and there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't make you any less of a man. You just more in tune with your feelings and emotions, and that's great. I feel like you have to have both. And if sometimes I feel like I'm leaning more towards the softness than I want to, and I just want to be hard. And it's frustrating. I don't think the biggest thing is like that's like I said in what I wrote, like, the emotion I've always been the best showing is anger. And that's just a defense mechanism, more or less, because I'm usually generally a happy person always. Nothing really bothers me. I'm laid back. But and it's DNA. That's my dad. That's my dad coming out of me. That's definitely my dad coming out of me. I don't know. I'm becoming a pussy is what it is. I am becoming a pussy. The thing of it is, maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe I should just embrace it until I meet someone or something or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I'm harder than you are. You're so damn soft. I don't want to talk to you anymore." And then we're going to reevaluate. We're going to have to reevaluate. Like, I can't be out here being looked at a certain way, But none of this is easy to shake, so we're not there yet. It's just something always on my mind as I'm progressing through life, just trying to be a better person in general. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear what anybody has to say about that in the comments section. I know no one ever gives in the comment section anything, but if you have thoughts, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear about it. I'm doing this late, and I need to get this done, so did the editing done on it and whatnot, so I can get it up, and because I have to work tomorrow, so I'm gonna end it there before I ramble too much and start crying and like, oh God, JC, he really is a pussy. He's up there crying and on his feelings. Then I get angry and I throw mics around. No, I was playing. But yeah, this was the JC Weakley podcast. Thank you for listening. Peace.